Feel like making some buildings from mud bricks under the hot sun, but without the hot sun part? Housebuilder recently released an Egyptian DLC with 3 different builds. Thanks to an update to the world map, we can easily locate the Egyptian DLC. Let's take a quick look at each of the 3 builds available in this DLC, and I'll point out things I appreciated, a couple of things I struggled with, as well as some new features that I found intriguing. The 3 builds in Housebuilder's Egyptian DLC are all set in the same map location, but you'll need to complete them in the order they are presented for your first playthrough to unlock the second and third builds. The first build is a simple poorhouse made of mud bricks. We're provided a small scoop to gather the sandy dirt and a bowl to collect water. There is a small basket that will convert the ingredients into mud balls, which we have to move one at a time over to the brick form sitting nearby. This requires lifting each ball of mud up from the basket and moving it over to the frame before releasing the mouse button. This is not a smooth and pain-free movement for me. The mud balls seem to frequently get stuck on one another as I tried to lift them from the basket. This issue is not new to this DLC. I've experienced it on other builds throughout the game. I was just hopeful. Hope springs eternal in my heart, and no game will ever take that from me. But in the meantime, I made the necessary number of bricks and carried on with the build. The task list mentioned tracking down another brick mold to make bricks faster, but since the brick mold was not the aspect slowing me down, I just left that for later. If you are new to Housebuilder and your bricklaying is going decidedly slower than mine, playing more of the base game builds will help you build up your skill tree, which makes many of the tasks in the game go more quickly and take fewer steps to complete. The Z key is often helpful throughout the game. It triggers your builder sense, which highlights the materials required for your current build step. I used my builder sense to locate the wood I needed for the roof. There will be times when the materials are not provided on the job site, and you'll have to order them from the online store. Yes, an online store in ancient Egypt. Why not? You'll notice that as I add the window panels to the building, the blue placement indicator turns green. That just means we'll be doing an assembly step after we finish putting all of the window pieces in place. The assembly step in Housebuilder is typically holding down your mouse button while keeping your cursor over the part being assembled. Sometimes this involves moving the mouse cursor to follow the movement of the part, but in the case of these windows, I just had to hold the mouse button until they were fully in place.
Impressive!
One of the unique aspects of this DLC is that there are workers present to assist you with some of the materials. For the first build, that included a worker that turned chopped trees into thin shade slats for the roof. I appreciated that the poorhouse included a handy fence next to it so that I could jump up in order to complete the high spots on the build, and I didn't have to go looking for a ladder or a scaffold. Once the poorhouse was complete, the Egyptian residence unlocked for purchase. The residence is listed as a medium-sized build. It needed a lot of bricks to build the walls. Fortunately, the game provided several bundles of pre-made bricks. The tricky part was lifting and carrying the bundles over to the pallet that would magically unbundle them and allow you to carry them in your toolbar for easy placement. I did have to create some mud bricks for the flooring in this build. 2 brick formers were provided, but I still wrestled with moving the mud balls to the form efficiently, so I'm not sure how much benefit I got from the second one. This build included several decorative elements, so I used my Z key to spot the pieces with my builder's sense, and I was very happy with how the build was coming together. The columns and trim pieces that added color to the residence were a nice contrast to the simple appearance of the first build. During the residence build, I got my first experience with one of the new features in this DLC. In other builds, I have driven motor vehicles to carry materials, but this was the first time that I got to drive a camel with a cart. It was definitely a novel experience, and the length of the cart made turns a bit challenging. I also managed to get the camel briefly stuck when I tried to go down a slope that was a bit too steep. My only small quibble with the camel cart is that the arrows telling you where to turn didn't trigger until the camel was already past the turn, so I had to back up in order to make turns. It was a fun addition though. I liked that the camel moved at a nice slow pace, just as you would expect a camel to do. One of the things I did after completing this build was to pick up and sell several of the leftover materials. I try to remember to do this in every house builder level that I complete, because it's a great way to recoup some of the funds you spent to unlock levels in the game. Last but not least is the temple build. This build includes lots of the bundled bricks from the previous build. However, this time there are not enough of the bricks at the job site. So we get to interact with another new material delivery mechanic. It's not completely new because we've used cranes elsewhere in various builds, but this time we're loading materials onto a boat. Then we send the boat down the river, where we use another crane to lift the bricks up near the build. We also need to use a crane for moving other large bricks into place on this build, so this is the level to replay if you want to spend some time moving bricks with cranes. Another new mechanic that appears in the Egyptian DLC is painting stone. I had to lift a heavy stone up onto a table, move my mouse around the surface to paint it, spinning it around to paint all 4 sides. You don't have to get 100% coverage, but it does require most of the sides to have been painted. If you're not sure where you may have missed, you can use your builder sense with the Z key to reveal that for you. The painted stones are a really nice touch, and it was fun to be able to add some of the decorations going onto the temple. The temple is another satisfying build in terms of the increased amount of decoration and fancier build appearance. There were some large pieces that were a bit difficult to maneuver, but overall I had a good time working through this build. I've been playing House Builder and its DLCs for a while now. In terms of the amount of build content and the experience building the 3 buildings in this Egyptian DLC, I'd say this is one of the more solid DLC experiences I've had with the franchise. I spent a few hours over the course of the 3 builds, and other than my brick making struggles, I was pretty happy with the overall building experience. And as an added bonus, I do like Egyptian architecture, so it was fun to try my hand at it, all from the comfort of my nice, cool office. Thanks for joining me on this look at the House Builder Egyptian DLC. Be sure to check the video description for links to the base game and the DLC. Until next time, take care of yourself. Be well. Bye for now from Ravvy at Ravvy Plays Games. See you soon.